Okay, let's see if this works out. Okay, so I'm Nathan, and I'm going to talk about ideas and ideas and ideas and hats. So this is all about creative thinking. It's something I'm really passionate about in sort of personal life and stuff that I do. So a good definition is always a good way to start a talk. It's Ken Robinson. Anyone seen his TED talk? Yeah. Hands up? Yes, lots of hands up, that's good. It's almost like school. Creativity is the process of having original ideas that have value. So how do we do this? Well, normally we'll say, we've got a problem, let's think of an idea, and immediately say, is it good or bad? If it's bad, we go back and try and think of another one. And if it's good and passes some kind of test, we try to implement it or work on it. The problem is, as Theodore Sturgeon observed, is that 90% of everything is crud. Some people say we say crap, others say we say shit. But yeah, essentially, 90% of everything that we do is rubbish. And that includes our ideas. And on top of that, Linus Paulingi, and this is where we start to edge towards the creativity that I think we should have, said the way to get good ideas is to have lots of them and throw the bad ones away. That's very different from the approach that we normally have. And start to think about how we actually have lots of ideas. Edward Bono said, basically, our minds organise the information that we receive and put it into patterns. So in order to be creative, we have to break those patterns. So up there, actually, I should have put like some thorns around that straight arrow, because the way to go from, just have a good idea without some kind of breaking pattern is a very difficult thing. What we need is movement value. What usually helps is if you're a bit absurd, as Einstein observed, if you're a bit funny, throw some humour into the process and see what happens, break the patterns in the mind. I'm going to talk about two ways that we could do that. So one is reverse it in 15 seconds. So take a problem and reverse it, and then get some bad ideas. So ways that we could worsen the economy, like making lots of cuts. And then we could reverse that and we come up with a good idea. Another way is to take a random word. I just have to pick fish from a table of random words. And then I start thinking about all these different associations that I have with the word fish. Things like water, and chips, and pollution. And so then what we can do is we can take our problem and our random word, and we have all these associations. And while because the mind works on patterns, we try to make connections. Try to make a connection between these random associations, and this fuels inspiration. So if you try that at home, get lots of ideas. What do you do then? Because, as I say, take the good ones and throw the bad ones away. Well, Edward Bono, father of lateral thinking, suggested to have 6 thinking hats. So basically, a way to separate out the way that we think about things. So before, as I was saying, you have an idea and you immediately say yes or no. Well, maybe, this is a suggestion and I think it's a good one, it's better to actually focus our thinking in certain directions. Bono uses these really cool metaphors of actually putting on hats. So green hat is for creativity, red hat is for feeling. So when you have an idea or get some information, really focus down in one direction. And if you're in a group of people, it works really well. Even if there's people who are really negative all the time, just focus on the risks. If everybody in the room is just focusing on the opportunities, it can be a real benefit for drawing things out of people. And so you have all of these different processes that you would not just use all at once, because that's kind of what we do. Normally, we have arguments and we have debates, but we separate things out. So we say we've got our ideas, we look at the information, and then we ask everybody what they feel about it, and then go through the pros and cons, separate it out. And then think actually for the risks, is there anything that we can turn around here? Are there some good ideas, bad ideas that we can make good? Other uses for 16 hats, it's not just for creative, it's good for creative thinking, not just for evaluation, and it saves time. It saves time because everybody's focuses on things, in small chunks. So, to sum up, the great thing about problems is that they are opportunities. And by using different creative thinking tools, you can actually start to break things down. Instead of just looking at random things and just think that's really random, you apply it to what you've got and have some fun basically. Because that's what creativity is about. Whether it's for work or somewhere else, it's about having fun and hopefully coming up with something original and new. And that's all I have to say.